and a lot of it was like AI proficiency, understanding a wide range of them, whatever. But they're like, look, if you've gone out there and you've just tried it, if you've tried to build a side hustle, you have an e-commerce store, you sold a couple of things, like if you get the ecosystem, it doesn't matter what your education is. You are very compelling.
Big ideas, money folding, hustle smart, dream so wild, turn that grind into a joyride.
I want to hit you with something here.
Hey, hit me.
All right, I want you to put yourselves in the shoes of a new graduate. You're Dave who just graduated with a fancy schmancy degree in history.
Ugh.
Okay.
It's accurate, but I don't like it. Keep
okay. Going. Now you're graduating in the spring of 2025, which is the era of AI. In Judgment Day.
Actually, Terminator 2 was on TV the other day.
Oh yeah,
and I just happened to I barely who goes through different channels, right? But anyway, so I saw it on. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this for a minute, and it was right at the scene with the "Come with me if you want to live." I was like, oh yeah, I was so pumped that I got that. Anyway,
all right. So, bottom line is you're a new grad and your back is against the wall, right? Because AI is coming after all those entry-level jobs. So you know these numbers as well as I do. I'll just throw out a couple of numbers at you and I want to get your hot take. So
hot take.
Big tech reduced their new graduate hiring by 25% in 2024 compared to 2023. Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's probably worse now.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
AI could replace 53% of market research analyst tasks and 67% of sales representative tasks.
SDRs. Yep.
40% of employers expect to reduce workforce due to AI automation. 77% of AI jobs require a master's degree and 18% require a doctoral degree. So if you want to work in AI,
how big was that? 77%?
77% of AI jobs require a master's degree as a minimum and 18% require a doctoral degree. So if you want to be making the AI, you've got to have a ton of letters after your name.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood that. I thought AI was taking 77% of jobs where it required you to have a master's degree to be in that job. But I suppose that could also
AI.
be but in AI specifically.
Right.
Yeah,
so if you're going to work for an
saying.
AI company, you probably need some.
That makes more sense. Okay.
All right. And then, but on the good side, only 44% of entrepreneurs actually have a college degree or equivalent. Okay. So formal education isn't required to go and become an entrepreneur. Okay. So I like this topic because this was me on the previous version of
we talked about
of
this.
Market Disruption.
Yeah.
We have talked about this, but just to recap for viewers who are just tuning in. So I graduated from computer science 2002. It was right after the .com bust. 2 years previous, like IBM, they were willing to give us jobs, move us to the big city, give us apartments, like the whole work. They're
the big
throwing money at us. And 2 years later, .com bust happens. All the big companies let go of big chunks of their workforce. There's a ton of people out there with many years of experience that we're now competing with. So all of us entry-level people, forget it.
Same problem now.
Yeah,
basically.
Exactly. So yours truly starts as a software company. Okay. Yeah. And
good thing you did actually. That
it was great
for me.
Though. Yeah. So and I had some advantages, which I think still exist today, maybe even more so. So, when you think about if you're a new grad, okay, you're used to eating mac and cheese. You're used to living cheap. You don't spend money. You are very disciplined.
You're probably not very leveraged either. You probably don't have a mortgage or car.
No mortgage, no kids. You can probably live at home.
If you're in I know a lot of people live at home now after school. It's way more common than it used to be even 10 years ago.
Well, I had to back in 2002. And gulp, that was swallowing my pride and having to say, oh gosh, I don't have enough cash to scrape together. I did, to my credit though, I did pay my way through university. So I worked through university paid all my living expenses and stuff like that. I wasn't
making, a humble brag.
No, but I don't know. I have my pride when it comes to that kind of stuff. I didn't really want our parents whatever.
Yeah.
So when you're young, you kind of have low lifestyle expectations. Like I wasn't expecting to go on a vacation every year or anything like that, right?
For sure,
like, I wasn't expecting to have a fancy car.
Or you go on a family vacation, I guess.
Yeah. Or I'd be just happy to hang with some buddies or hang with you and
whatever.
Like,
what, probably like 14?
Yeah.
When you were back at home, something like that?
Yeah.
So I was probably playing video games, to be totally honest with you.
Yeah.
You probably wanted to do stuff, but I just didn't. But anyway, okay.
Yeah. So then the other thing too is like, what better time to do it? Like, you can be risk tolerant when you're, like 22. Whereas like you try and start a business, you throw everything you have at it at 35 and you fail. That can be devastating.
Yeah.
Like you're probably never trying to start a business again.
Oh, didn't see you there. I'm just reading Startup Different, my book to help you get to your multi-million-dollar business. You can find it on Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
You're just going to lick your wounds.
Yeah.
Go back to like career path and play that game instead. So the argument here I'm trying to make is that, hey, what a great time to start a business if you cannot find a job. And, I didn't think of myself as an entrepreneur when I was going through university. I thought I would get a job at a big software company or something like that and play that game. And I was sort of like thrust into this entrepreneurship role and then I ended up really loving it. Okay.
Yeah.
And got to the point within a couple of years where I'm like, I'm never going back. I'm never working for somebody until, of course, we were required and we had to work for big companies.
I told you that would be a big
glorious
change.
14 months.
Big change for you.
Which was a shock to see how that all works. But so anyway, so that's kind of my pitch today. And I know some cousins and things like that who are graduating soon and are in that kind of situation. So what's your hot take on what a new grad, is this a good idea or a bad idea? Should they just fight it out and try and get that job that even though it's a very scarce commodity out there right now? Or how do you think young people should be?
Tough call. So what I would say so I agree with the spirit of what you're saying. First off, that it is a good time to try. Yeah. I think it's a good time to do it. You have all these tools that like can make you act as if you are a small company. So that's pretty cool just to begin with.
Right.
I think it is a busier, in a weird way, like a busier entrepreneurship landscape though right now. Like I'm just thinking about AI companies, like they're a dime a dozen and a whole bunch are going to fail. Right. But maybe there's still money to be had there. Even if it doesn't work out for you longer term, maybe there's money that you can make, make like $1 million over a couple of years. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? So even if it doesn't work out longer term. So I guess like the first piece would be like, yes, this is a good time to try. However, Barry Nailba said something to us once, which is not everyone should be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've kind of struggled with this comment because I think I'm an optimist and I believe in people. And I think that you can do it. Like, I think anyone can do it, even if they don't believe they're particularly entrepreneurial. Right. They can get into it. They can make something happen. They probably have a set of skills. A lot of the time, I think going back to sort of like those fear barrier questions we had before, there's a lot of self-doubt. Yeah. A lot of fear of like putting yourself out there, which you must do as an entrepreneur. Yeah. So there's that. So I don't think everyone's supposed to do it. So let me just go here for like, before I just, if I may just keep talking over you. So in the context of somebody trying to get a job, I think it's going to be real hard. I think that you need to focus on the things that AI will always suck at. Okay. Which human interaction. All right. I think that whatever your job is, you need to do it in such a way that the human element is sort of like required in that role. Okay. Like I think you mentioned sales roles. Some sales roles, I could see those going away. The SDR, the really low level stuff, which necessarily means that maybe there'll be other opportunities for account executives and stuff like that. Okay. Could also mean that people who are more experienced that got fired from SDR roles are going to try and move into those roles as well. Right. It'll be very competitive. Yeah. But I think those are kind of like, you need to peg opportunities where it values the human to human interaction. I'll give you an example really quickly. Okay. We know the Good Guys that has Track, a company that we work with on occasion. And, I know Zach's out there making deals in person. He's taking people out to dinner. Right. No, we don't have AI robots yet taking us out to dinner. But he's using AI tools in his sales process. Yeah. But he's not doing the grunt work. Base assumption. You must use AI tools. Any role you're doing. Yeah. You must. And you're going to use more than one. Yeah. And if you're not doing that now, start getting used to it. This is absolutely essential, whatever role you take on. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So
what I wanted to do is kind of come up with like a bit of a game plan. So you're a new grad. How do I actually action this, become an entrepreneur? Like,
okay.
I got my degree. I got nothing else.
Do you have an idea?
Well, so the first thing I think you got to ask yourself.
AI for an idea.
No, I think what you got to ask yourself is, what can you actually do? Okay. So like,
okay.
So I don't know. Like,
well, some people, I would say, yeah, you're right. But I would say some young people don't know.
Right.
So if you don't know, I guess like the step 0 here would be, if you don't know what you can do, start doing lots of stuff. Right. Try different things, whether that involves you volunteering your time, whether that involves you, I don't even know, man. Like doing weird stuff on the weekends or whatever.
What were you doing after you graduated?
I worked odd jobs. Actually, I ran like the newspaper. I worked in the student government. I mean, I did that because my girlfriend at the time was there. Okay. So that was a big reason why I hung out as well. Yeah. But it also like I did get exposure to a whole bunch of different things, and one of those meetings happened to be the one that actually led to there's like the genesis of App Armor. Effectively.
Right. So those are kind of like your like skills things that you could do. You could talk, you could go out and sell ads for the newspaper. Yep. You could do and
for what it's worth, newspapers were also disappearing back then. I'm not that old. Like they were on their way. It was a hard sell. We were bundling print ads with web ads, and that was like, a revolution in the way that job was done.
So that's kind of like your like technical ish.
So wait a minute, is this episode about like what Dave would do as a company?
Yeah. I'm just kind of walking through you as a case study.
Okay. So I would love to be able to see your phone right now to see what other notes you have.
I got lots. Yeah. So the other thing I think you can ask yourself is, what are you like passionate about? What do you
self-proclaimed Huguenot? I don't know what that means.
What is that, by the way?
Oh, it's a religious order.
Oh, is it?
A Huguenot. It's a French Protestant sect.
It's a Family Guy reference.
That is a Family Guy reference. Peter Griffin, self-described
If
Huguenot.
Anybody got that reference, give us a like on this episode. So going back to it. So like, what do you do?
It's good that Tom Tucker also doesn't know what it means. Anyway, sorry. What do you
So when you're thinking about yourself as well, what are the like passion things that you do? So I thought about myself. Like, I really like windsurfing. I'm not really that good at it, but I really like windsurfing.
I think you're pretty good at it, actually.
And I was like, if I graduated and I didn't have anything to do for a summer, maybe I could just take my windsurfing gear, put some ads on like Facebook, go to the like local park and use my gear and just like sell lessons to show people how to windsurf on windy days. Cool. Probably not going to make a lot of money at it, maybe, but at least I'm doing something and I'm learning how to interact with people. I'm getting some sense of like finance.
There's like the value of momentum.
Yeah.
Okay. Like where you want to be in business, it's really hard to be outside of everything, trying to think of ideas when you're not being exposed regularly to problems. Like the entrepreneurs see problems everywhere and they want to solve them. That's what makes you an entrepreneur when you act on it. And I think that would be a good advice for that is like, that's a good thing you're good at and you're into something.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to put out there the idea too of, I think having like a first customer is a really big deal. Okay.
Yes.
When I think about everything we've ever done, we've had
a first customer
like working with us before we really had a product. Right?
I thought you meant like we had like one customer one.
Yeah, customer one.
No shit. But you mean a customer willing to work with you early.
Yes. Like the customer that kind of believes in you, even when you don't have a fully flushed out product.
Yes.
Okay.
Early adopter.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think like if I was doing that windsurfing, I need to know like one person that is interested in learning windsurfing and willing to pay for it. Mm-hmm. Okay. And
I think you could find that.
And then I can kind of get some momentum and I can like work with that person and say like, all right, here's how I'm thinking of, I'm going to use AI to help me figure out how to teach how to windsurf. And I'm going to come up with like a lesson plan and stuff like that. And I'm going to like test it out with that first client. And they're going to know that they're the first client and that they're kind of the guinea pig on it. They're cool with that. Right. So you're going to find that like first customer that has a comfort level with you that
necessarily you would charge them less because they're taking
give them
a bigger
good
gamble
deal
on you.
I would definitely say don't do it for free. Because
don't do it for free.
You need to get some money transacting so that you're
the best. Remember, Anthony Monica said, your worst case is you can always just give them their money back.
Right.
I think about this all the time. No free trials, just get your money back.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to do it.
Absolutely. Okay. So with that in mind, we on this, we were obviously in because I was a software developer, we were typically like a product business. Okay. But when I think about it, when I actually first started, I was also doing a lot of services as well. I was helping people with like websites and weird things, just being out there where I was like selling hours, not selling finished products. Yep. Okay. But there's something to be said about transitioning from a services business, like do a services business first, because it's easier to start and then transition to a product business.
Yes.
Okay. So I see there's lots of opportunities for people who just want to, like, as you know, I've got a cottage now, and I've had to hire a lot of companies to do stuff, and I've found a lot of them are really disorganized, and some are good, but a lot of them are really disorganized and not very efficient. And I feel like there's tons of opportunities to displace existing service-based businesses just by doing the service more efficiently, using AI, using scheduling, online payments, like
reliability. I think in the context of what you're talking about, like we'll be there when we're going to be there. We're going to do the thing. We're going to, on the day we say we're going to do the thing. Like all those things that are annoying about contractors. Definitely. If you're a good contractor, people like you are really valuable.
Oh yeah.
Because you're unheard of. You're like, you're such an exception to the rule.
Yeah.
No offense to our contractors, physical labor contractors watching today, but a lot of the people in that market are not reliable.
Not reliable. They'll tell you whatever you want to hear, and then they actually come whenever they feel like
I have two thoughts on that, just really quick. So on the service, like converting from service to product is a very common thing. Right. And I think of two examples. One is, do you recall Bryce telling us about those students at McGill who were making like $500,000 on the side,
just doing AI consulting?
This is so ridiculous.
Yeah, going into companies and just showing them how to use AI tools.
Now that business is probably it's probably more competitive now, I got to imagine, or potentially has evaporated, or maybe they're doing great, but you can see they're making their way into.
So for them, perfect. Like you start off being AI consultants, and then, oh, hey, we should build our own AI tools. Or, hey, we found a client that we do a lot of work for, and we're going to build a product for them. And then we're going to go and then market that to other people. But it started as services and it ends up as product.
A lot of companies do that. Right. And I find also too, they at first, as you're trying to figure out what you're going to do as a service business, you offer a lot of services.
Yeah.
And eventually you start narrowing it down to the things that actually make money. And then you make a product out of those things that make money. That's a very good approach. Just second thing there, a lot of companies have internal tools that they create a product for. Slack becomes external facing.
External
so product. The other thing too is it's not a waste of time to work on internal processes if some of those proceeds could potentially be marketed later. I mean, it's not a waste of time, period.
Yeah.
But it can also be very lucrative to take something that is internal facing and potentially make it external.
Yeah.
As a standalone product.
Absolutely.
So, remember Slack was like a dating platform? Like it was like a really different idea in its first iteration. And then, man, that guy, it's going to drive me nuts. He had another company that was exactly like this too. It was an internal tool.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a video game, I think.
Okay.
And then it became something else, like totally different. That might have been the Slack store. I can't remember. But like there's something really, really different. Pivot, 1,000 pivots. They make this internal tool as they're trying to get this other thing off the ground. They sell the internal tool. Billionaires.
So
that's how it works. It's like 5 steps.
The code base for our App Armor product, like the early days of it was like a used book selling app.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
And those like not a lot of that code, none of that code really translated over, but those skills did translate over to what we were building with App Armor. So no, absolutely. You can start off as one thing and then pivot to something else. So the other piece to this like formula of like starting your own business, I think you've got to really focus on the show me the money part. Okay. There's got to be money transacting. You've got to do some sort of actual analysis on like, hey, can I cover my costs? Can there be profit at the end of the day? We're big on not going down the funding route, which if you're starting a services business, I don't think you're going to get funding anyways. There's like no way that's going to happen. It's just not going to scale quite right. But if you can figure out, hey, here are my like actual costs. I'm going to live super cheap. I'm probably not paying myself a ton at this point, but with the long game in mind, that I can get this to a point where it will be successful over the long haul, and know what that market sizing looks like, know what that cost base looks like, and know what your revenue potential is.
I think also, I 100% agree. I also think though, you have to consider the long play here too, right? Yep. And it's how long are you willing to be at this, and take whatever your estimate is and double it at least. It takes a long time to do these things.
Yep.
But just getting back to this like time of relative low risk in your life. So you're 22, you try and do this, takes you 4 years, you make some money, but it doesn't really get you where you want to be. Like, so what? You get to, you're 26 now, you've learned some stuff, and you can just keep trying to figure it out from there. Like, so, the worst case, you've risked very little because you started at a position of almost nothing.
Yeah. So like, all right. So when you think about your skill sets, like I just want to put a few ideas out there for people to,
for me,
no, just like anybody, but yeah. So like, obviously like digital services are big. So like doing websites, helping people with social media management, content creation, that kind of stuff. There's lots of opportunities there. People are trying to do that sort of stuff and need help doing it. Things like local services, like tutoring. Okay. You got a math degree and you can go tutor kids, or you can spend the summer and do a math camp for kids or things like that. You know, that's a great way. It's a services business, but hey, there's probably going to be
solidly in the side hustle category.
Yeah, that's fine though. Pet sitting, home organization, like tech support. You know, I could have easily gone out and helped people with their computers.
Yeah, but you would have hated that. I think the one thing here is
I can fix
do things like that you want to do, right? Like I get that sometimes you have to do a job or take a job or work, or and even in your startup, you'll take on things that you might not always be wild about because you got to do it for the money. But if you can, try to find that intersection of things you enjoy, things you're good at, and things that are worthwhile doing.
Yeah. Yeah. So. I was thinking about you too, actually. Like one of your passion projects is you like making sourdough bread.
I do.
You know, like,
actually I was going to say that earlier.
What if young Dave decides, hey, I'm going to see if I can make a little business.
You know what I would do?
Local sourdough bread.
No, you know what I would do?
What?
I know you might laugh at me, but I think a lot of people would watch that on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. I think if like I had done it when I first started doing it, if I had put those up on YouTube, I started making sourdough bread in like 2016, and I would have absolutely fucking killed it during the pandemic when everybody was trying to make sourdough bread.
Yeah.
And so I've passed on what was probably a very lucrative opportunity. So anyway, what are you gonna
do? So obviously, you know, these are like kind of like low barriers to entry, but also like low barriers to exit. So like, you know, hey, your sourdough bread making business isn't going so well. You just stop selling it, right? You do something else, right?
Yeah.
But it's like a really good, especially if you're young and you're living at home and you got time to spare, like now's a great time to start a business and start to understand, hey, what does it take? Because the process of like, let's use the sourdough bread idea. You know, you're going to have to set up some sort of payment platform to receive payments.
Totally.
You're going to have to deal with customers.
You're going to have a lot of experience there.
You're going to have to go and try and do some marketing.
And actually, incidentally, I was on a panel a few weeks ago, about a month ago, where I was sitting next to somebody who works at Google, and they're fantastic. They're very interesting. And they were talking about that they get millions of applicants a year for Google, for all kinds of roles. And they were like, what do you like look for? And especially in this age of AI stuff. And a lot of it was like AI proficiency, understanding a wide range and whatever. But they're like, look, if you've gone out there and you've just tried it, you've tried to build a side hustle, you have an e-commerce store, you sold a couple of things. Like, if you get the ecosystem, it doesn't matter what your education is. You are a very compelling candidate.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty interesting. I was like, okay, so I don't think people should perceive like a failed business, which could possibly happen, as like wasted time. Like quite often, like aside from making money, that experience in and of itself is super valuable. That will probably lead to your next opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I just kind of summarize this, I've kind of got some like action steps that you need to take if you're trying to implement this. So so let me recap. So first one is kind of skills audit. So audit your skills. What can you do? What are you into? What are you passionate about?
What are you good at?
What are you good at?
I'm into music.
Yeah.
I am not good at music. You seen the movie The Jerk? And he's trying to clap along. Okay. Like that's me.
It's so true. Yeah. Second thing is like, you got to find the problem. And that necessarily is like your first customer.
But I think that comes from being out there as well.
Yeah. You got to talk to people, find the problem, then validate it. So make sure you can make revenue, make sure you can cover costs, make sure you can do all the aspects to make it a profitable thing. We're all big about profit, not
profit early. Profit is validation that your idea is good and that your business model is sound.
Yeah.
If you're not generating profit, even if you're generating revenue, you've got some problems you've got to sort out.
Yeah. Then after that, you launch, you get customer feedback, and you start iterating. and it's a pivot, persevere kind of conversation that you're having at that point.
Pivot,
like,
push, persevere.
Is this working? If it is, great. Let's keep pushing. If it's not, do we pivot it and do something else? So that's really the big keep away.
Cool.
So, and Dave's sourdough bread idea probably isn't going to get a lot of.
If you're interested in ordering sourdough bread, let me know. I'll whip you up a pie real quick and send it your way. It's actually really good, if I may say so myself. You've had it before. Yeah. You know it's good bread.
Yeah. Good point here too is that you
did not acknowledge my bread, sir.
I love your bread. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Actually, your bagels are the best.
They're pretty good.
But anyways,
New York style.
So I think the biggest risk isn't starting a business and failing. It's spending like 5 years trying to get a traditional job that may not exist by the time.
Oh man, and it's soul crushing too.
Yeah,
like going on Indeed and sending that resume out there, getting nothing back, and then you're just back to playing Fortnite.
But you know what?
What do kids play these days?
If you got up and you baked 10 loaves of bread and sold 10 loaves of bread today, you'd feel pretty good about yourself.
I need like a couple ovens to do that. It actually would be pretty hard to do. Anyway, whatever.
That's true.
Yeah. Cool. So, okay, cool. So it's a good framework to get it done.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Are you thinking of starting a business? Let us know. Come on. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool. Peace out.
Start it up. Let's get it rolling. Big ideas, money folding. Hustle smart, dream so wild. Turn that grind into a joyride.